In the small town of Gatlin, a teenager named Ethan Wate wakes up from a recurring dream about a girl he doesn't know. Unable to sleep, he heads out for a jog in the middle of the night. He narrates in a voiceover about his love for reading banned books and his dream to escape this town. When Ethan passes by his mother's grave, he mentions that even though some time has passed, his father is still mourning her death. After a while, Ethan grows tired of running and decides to rest on the ground. At this moment, he hears his name being called and rushes to Greenbrier, which was once a battlefield during the American Civil War. There, he discovers a locket on the ground, which he decides to keep for himself. The next morning, Ethan is making breakfast at home, feeling excited about his first day of junior year. A woman named Amma then arrives, and she is revealed to be his late mother's friend. It turns out Amma has been looking after him and the household since his mother passed away. God knows Dad's not doing their dishes. Later, Ethan picks up his best friend Link, and they drive to school together. On the way, Link mentions that a new female student's arriving at their school today. He reveals that she is the niece of a man named Macan, whose family has a reputation for being mysterious and strange. Afterward, in class, Ethan is approached by his girlfriend Emily, who is quite popular at school. Ethan doesn't seem to have feelings for her, and he tries to break up. However, she is not ready to leave him and makes plans for their next date, which irritates him. Shortly after, the class begins and a new student named Lena Ravenwood shows up. Ethan is mesmerized by her beauty, and he recalls that she is the same girl he sees in his dreams every day. And yes, they are those kinds of dreams. Meanwhile, as soon as Lena takes her seat, Emily and her best friend start making fun of her. They claim that her uncle Macan is a weirdo, and that the entire Ravenwood family are Satan worshippers. After school, Ethan is driving home in heavy rain when he nearly runs over Lena. She explains that her car is broken down, and Ethan unintentionally offends her by asking if she was trying to kill herself. It's just a question. She accuses him of being a bully like the other kids and decides to walk in the rain. However, he quickly apologizes and urges her to get into his car. After Lena gets inside the car, the two introduce themselves properly. They soon begin to bond over their shared love of poetry and the experience of losing their mothers. When they reach her home, Ethan offers to accompany her inside, but she nervously refuses and asks him to leave. That night, Ethan arrives at Greenbrier, where all the town residents are gathered because there is constant lightning in just one spot. Emily accuses Lena of causing this phenomenon and calls her a witch, but Ethan doesn't like her behavior, so he scolds her for being mean. The two then get into a minor argument, which ends with them breaking up for good. The next day, a teacher shows a banned book in class and asks the students to read it for their next assignment, but Emily and her best friend explain that the church prohibits them from reading such books. The teacher informs them that it's not a deal, but the girls start praying in the middle of class. This weirds out everyone, and Lena starts to get anxious. Moments later, the classroom windows inexplicably shatter, injuring a lot of students. A worried Ethan then rushes to check on Lena, but she ignores him and runs away. This further bolsters everyone's belief that she is a witch.
"She's not a witch, she's my girlfriend,"
says Ethan as he runs away. After school, Ethan goes to Lena's house to make sure she's okay. He finds her sitting alone and upset about today's incident. Ethan comforts her and recites some poetry to cheer her up. This seems to work, and she finally begins laughing. While they are talking, Lena suddenly hears her uncle's voice and asks Ethan to leave. However, Macan has already seen him and invites him inside for coffee. Once inside, Macan informs Lena that her teacher called and she's now on probation due to the window incident. He then starts talking with Ethan and reveals that his late mother used to be his good friend. He asks Ethan about his future plans and begins to control his mind. Under Macan's spell, Ethan explains how he's going to be stuck in this town, marry Emily, and cheat on her with her best friend. He also mentions that he's going to become an alcoholic and eventually commit the unthinkable. "Jesus, kid," says Macan. Upon hearing this, Lena asks her uncle to stop, and when Macan finally does, Ethan comes to his senses. He feels uncomfortable with the situation and leaves the house. Meanwhile, Macan scolds Lena for the window incident and for making friends. She asserts that she can make friends until her 16th birthday, but he refuses and claims it's for her own safety. A while later, Ethan returns to Lena's house, and she sees him from her window. She rushes to meet him, and he finally admits that he has seen her many times in his dreams. Ethan also gives her the locket, which he found in Greenbrier. As soon as they both touch it, they begin seeing visions of the American Civil War. All of a sudden, Ethan awakes awakens in his house with no recollection of how he got there. He sees Amma in front of him and asks where she was all this time. She obviously doesn't understand what he's talking about, but becomes worried when she notices the locket in his hand. Amma urges him to put it back in Greenbrier where he found it, but Ethan refuses and heads back to Lena's place once again. Upon reaching there, he sees another version of himself who was at Lena's house some time ago. At the same time, a dark shadow looms above him and proceeds to attack him, but before it can cause any damage, Lena manages to defeat the shadow. She then takes Ethan inside her house and reveals that her family is called casters, who possess various magical powers and spells. She explains that the black shadow he saw earlier was set up by Makan to protect the house during his absence. Lena now fears that Ethan will stop talking to her as he has found out the truth, but to her surprise, he is intrigued by the revelation and calls her a miracle. "I know magic too," he says. "Right now I'm using the thinking with my penis spell." Feeling happy, Lena admits that she has also seen him in her recurring dreams. The two then admit that they like each other and begin to make out, but they are soon interrupted by Makan's voice, so Ethan decides to climb down through the window. Before leaving, he convinces Lena to go on a date, and she gladly agrees. In the next scene, we see Makan and Amma in a forest. It is revealed that Amma is a seer, and her ancestors saved the town during the Civil War. The two discuss the growing closeness between Ethan and Lena and decide that they should separate them. Makan tells Amma about his sister Seraphine, who is a dark caster. She is Lena's mother and is trying to turn her evil as well. The scene then cuts to Lena and Ethan's date, where she claims that she's unsure of her fate after her 16th birthday. She reveals that the casters discover their true nature at that age and will be either dark or light. When Ethan asks what kind of caster Makan is, she replies that he is a dark one but is trying to come to the light. Ethan asserts that she can do the same, but Lena explains that female casters have no privilege to make that choice. She is afraid that if she becomes a dark caster, she will be consumed by evil and hurt her loved ones. However, he tells her it's not going to happen because she is a good person. Meanwhile, a woman named Mrs. Lincoln has gathered everyone in the church and is trying to convince them to kick Lena out of town. She reveals that everywhere Lena has gone, she has caused trouble and natural disasters. Just then, Makan shows up and defends his niece. He asserts that the lightning incidents are not Lena's doing, but are natural occurrences. Makan reminds them that the town was founded by his ancestors, so no one has the right to kick Lena out of here. All of a sudden, the crowd disappears, and Mrs. Lincoln turns out to be Seraphine in disguise. She is trying to get her own daughter in trouble so that she can make her a dark caster. She explains that Lena is a strong caster who is capable of becoming too powerful and ruling over the world. But Makan angrily responds that as long as he's alive, he won't let it happen. Just then, the crowd reappears and everyone is surprised by Makan's outburst. The following day, Ethan is at the school field when he is approached by a woman named Ridley. She turns out to be a cousin of Lena's and is a dark caster. She takes him to Lena's home, where all the family members are gathered. They are not happy to see Ridley, but she forcefully makes her way inside. She also casts a spell on Ethan, making him unable to speak. Lena is very angry to see her, but Makan advises her to stay calm. Afterward, the family sits down to eat, and Ridley begins talking about how Lena will soon turn evil just like her. She then starts touching and messing with Ethan, just to provoke her cousin. But when Lena cannot take it any longer, she begins spinning the table in anger and eventually kicks Ridley out of the house.
Only I get to paralyze and touch that boy.
Afterward, Lena takes Ethan to her room and apologizes for what happened. She explains that Ridley wasn't always like this and they used to be very close. But when Ridley was about to turn 16, she ran away from the house, fearing she would turn evil and hurt her loved ones. Sure enough, she transformed into a dark caster and was consumed by evil. Ridley then lured a man and hit him with a train using her new powers. Lena worries that she's going to end up like her cousin, but Ethan assures her that it's not going to happen. "Please don't hit me with a train." Days later, the couple goes on another date to watch a movie. During this time, Lena notices the locket with Ethan and claims she wants to touch it and see what happens. The two then touch the locket simultaneously, triggering a flashback of the American Civil War in Greenbrier. They witness Lena's ancestor, caster Lena Duchannes, whose house was burned to the ground and her family was killed. Genevieve was then reunited with her long-lost love, Ethan Carter Water, but he was immediately shot and killed. In an attempt to revive him, she cast a forbidden spell from the Book of Moons. Ethan was indeed revived, but this act turned Genevieve into a dark caster, and tragically, she ended up killing him again. Ever since then, all of her female descendants have been cursed, and they won't get to choose whether they will become dark or light on their 16th birthday. Shocked by the revelation, the two rush to meet Amma and Makan. They demand answers, and Makan reluctantly confirms that what they witnessed was true. He further reveals that Lena's mother Seraphine is still alive and is using Ethan to manipulate her daughter. Seraphine wants to use Lena's powers to remove everyone from Earth, except the casters. Therefore, Makan asks the two to stay away from each other for their own good. Ethan protests this, saying he doesn't give a damn about genocide, but Makan takes her away from there. The scene then shifts to 2 weeks later, and we learn that Ethan has still not been able to meet Lena. Worried for her safety, he rushes to her house, where her family members try to keep them away using their powers. But Ethan faces all the spells, and declares that he can't stay away from Lena. He promises never to let her become dark, and claims he wants to help her. Afterward, the couple goes to seek help from Amma, who leads them to the hidden library of the town. She guides Lena to the door, where the Book of Moons can be found. Lena then begins studying the book to unleash the curse. After weeks of intensive reading, she discovers that the key to breaking the curse is that someone she loves must die. She gets worried that Ethan might die because of her. Therefore, she erases his memories of her so that he can go back to his old life. The next day, Ethan awakens with no recollection of his time with Lena, and all memories of their relationship are erased. Elsewhere, Ridley begins to seduce Link and provides him with a bullet for the upcoming reenactment of the Civil War. A few days later, Lena's 16th birthday finally arrives, and Seraphine also shows up disguised as Mrs. Lincoln. A short distance away, Ethan and Link are preparing for a Civil War reenactment. While the two are practicing, Link unintentionally ends up shooting his friend with a real bullet. Lena instantly senses that something is wrong and rushes to the scene, only to find Ethan dying. Just then, Seraphine and Ridley also appear and urge her to embrace her dark powers and destroy the mortals. It's a bit of a stretch to assume she'd want to do that. However, a furious Lena cooks up a storm and causes the moon to disappear. This means that she won't become a dark caster because the moon was responsible for turning her into one. At the same time, the dying Ethan transforms into her uncle, Makan. He declares that with someone she loves now dead, the curse is finally broken. Makan advises Lena not to listen to her mother and claim her own identity. He then passes away in her arms, leaving her devastated. In the aftermath of this incident, Lena allows Ridley to escape, but stops Seraphine. She then turns on her mother and forces her out of Mrs. Lincoln's body, seemingly ending her life. Lena finally realizes that a relationship between a caster and a mortal can never be successful. Following this, the movie skips to 6 months later, but Ethan still doesn't remember Lena. He visits the college library and meets Amma before embarking on a college tour. Lena is also there, and it is revealed that she is a half-light, half-dark caster, just like her mother once was. They engage in a brief conversation, during which Ethan compliments her poetry. In the final scene, Ethan is about to leave town when he notices a sign that Lena once destroyed with a lightning strike. This triggers his memories, so he gets out of the car and calls her name. Lena also hears his voice in the library, and with this, the movie comes to an end. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.